Real quick, thank you for the support on the last video. That video was made as a little shit post to get something out there. I didn't expect this, not in the slightest. This video is gonna probably perform like ass compared to that one, but I don't really care. Also, if I see any comments like, who the fuck are these guys? Ain't no one know them. Or y'all trying to slander these guys, I will be in the comment section defending these guys with my fucking life. Real quick, how many shadow animatronics are there? 2? Well, no.
I don't believe this. I don't believe you.
There are actually a lot more than you think besides the main 2 that don't really get that much recognition, and I kind of want to talk about these guys. For the most part, I've been kind of known as the guy that talked about Shadow Freddy. That might change as of recent. And I do plan on making a video about Shadow Bonnie, but I'm going to save that for later, and I'm not really going to talk about him here.
Since, you know, he's not really forgotten, like the title says, he's actually the most popular one.
Forgot to mention before we get started, on the top left there's gonna be a little status that says if it's confirmed, deconfirmed, or unsure. It's supposed to like tell you if they are shadow animatronics, because although for the most part I am gonna be talking about just strictly shadow animatronics, there are some characters I feel that are worth mentioning. Other than Shadow Freddy and RWQ, there are actually 3 other Shadow animatronics in this game, that being Shadow BB, Shadow Cupcake, and Shadow Puppet. So let's start off by talking about Shadow BB. And before you say, Noob, you stupid jackass, that's a hoax character.
Listen here, Nick.
With Phantom BB and Shadow BB having their own separate sections, with the information in both of them being drastically different from each other, so it wasn't a mix-up. These are supposed to be different characters. But back to Shadow BB, he appears in the BB's Air Adventure minigame and specifically shows up in the Sunken Place alongside 2 other ones. I don't know what this place is. He doesn't have any sort of dialogue and doesn't really do anything, he just stands there. And in terms of his physical appearance, he's an all blacked out balloon boy with great tears. And that's about it. There's nothing else special to him. Now when it comes to Shadow Puppet, who once again is different from Phantom Puppet, they're 2 different characters. He appears in Mangle's quest with him being big as hell for some reason and looking kind of the same like Shadow BB with him being all blacked out, but with him having gray stripes and tears. He also doesn't do anything. But funnily enough, the only one that actually switches things up is the Shadow Cupcake, with him actually appearing in the Fazbear Stripes location and in a minigame. Now you may be saying, well, isn't this like a Phantom Cupcake? Correct me if I'm wrong. The Phantoms don't show up in minigames, and they're not all blacked out. And in the minigame itself, he's just trying to beat Toichito's ass.
I know, he just holds a grudge.
But that's about it for Five Nights at Freddy's 3. Let's move on. Alright, you know how I said I wasn't going to talk about Shadow Freddy or Shadow Bonnie? Well, I'm breaking those rules right now. Since 1, I didn't talk about Adventure Shadow Freddy in the Shadow Freddy video, and I'm probably not going to talk about Adventure Shadow Bonnie, so I'll take the opportunity to talk about them here. Shadow Freddy acts kind of like a more offensive character with all his movesets just being insta-kill moves, while Shadow Bonnie's is more of a support character with him just having healing capabilities. And that's about it. Their animations are cool. Shadow Freddy talks about eating souls. Don't know what's up with him there. But before we close this section off, I really want to talk about some characters. That being Red Bear, White Rabbit, and Tangle. And now, you might be asking why. They're not necessarily shadow. Let me introduce you to a game called Five Nights at Freddy's Fight Line, a collectible tabletop battle game mainly inspired by Fnaf World. Every animatronic has a type of animatronic, for example the main 4 saying classic. Now, what does this mean? Well, this game actually does include Shadow Freddy and RWQ, with them being classified as a shadow animatronic, obviously. You want to know who else is? Now, would I personally say he is a shadow animatronic? No, but... Alright, calm the fuck down. This might seem a little bit stupid. But look, it says the word shadow multiple times and just look at it. This game actually has its own exclusive Shadow animatronic, with it being XOR or Shadow Dee Dee. She's a completely monochrome version of Dee Dee, with her only appearing during 50-20 mode, and when she does appear, unlike Dee Dee, who will summon only one of the secret 6 animatronics, she'll summon all of them simultaneously, which Other than Shadow Freddy and Shadow Bonnie, she is the third most well-known Shadow animatronic in Fnaf, so good on her. Yeah, out of all the games, this one has its own Shadow animatronic, even though Shadow Freddy or Bonnie aren't in the actual game. This is Shadow Mangle. She's an all blacked out version of Mangle, with her having normal eyes for some reason, and she appears in the hard mode version of Mangle's Vet Repair, with her just replacing Mangle. And that's about it. She functions just like Mangle with zero differences. The most notable thing about her is their shocking amount of merch they made about her, and it's pretty interesting. The fact that she's the only other Shadow animatronic that actually has merch on her. Now, this is an interesting one that I wanted to mention in the Shadow Freddy video, but it'd be kind of hard for me to call him a version of Shadow Freddy, since Fnaf Help Wanted is a virtual game in the universe, so they wouldn't know about Shadow Freddy, and there's no reason for him to appear. And his name is Dark Freddy. He appears with freckles, just doesn't act like Shadow Freddy at all. So if you want to call him Shadow Freddy, go right ahead. I personally wouldn't, but I just felt like I wanted to mention him here.
Now, in terms of what could have happened, it's simple. They don't have any lore importance, so they had no reason to show up. Because if it was one thing where it was like, oh, they did something really important and then never showed up again, and people are like, why? No, they didn't do anything. These characters were either background characters, literally, or were just made for the sake of gameplay, like Shadow Mangle. The only one I can say kind of stands out is Shadow Cupcake, because he serves a purpose to get into minigames to achieve the good ending, but that's about it. They've never really shown up. And I mean, if someone like Shadow Freddy can hardly show up in games anymore, I don't think we're gonna get these guys back. Except for one, Shadow Mangle. I mentioned it earlier in the video, but she has gotten a fair amount of merch as of recent. And I mean recent. I mean, her Jasmine's figure is going to come out this year. So who knows? Shadow Mangle could be our last hope. And that's about it. I wanted to talk about these guys for a short little video. I'm not trying to fall off. Thanks for the support on the last video. Hopefully this one will also perform pretty well. And yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.